Excellency Minister Kunwirasak Ko Surat, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is David Cumming and I'm a Vice Chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce. So it's with great pleasure I welcome you to today's lunch and thank the Banyan Tree for a wonderful lunch. And I would also like to thank all the chambers involved in today's event for their support: AmCham, AustCham, Belgium, Luxembourg, French, Netherlands, EABC and the New Zealand Chambers of Commerce. We're very honoured today to have His Excellency the Minister Kunwirasak Ko Surat, the Minister of Tourism and Sport, to be with us to speak to us all today. Kunwirasak was educated at both the Faculty of Law here in Bangkok at Chulalongkorn University before attending Harvard University in the USA to study economics. He was appointed to the position of Minister of Tourism and Sport in November late last year, before returning to a position he had held in 2008 for a period of 3 years. Kunwirasak has also served as chairman of both TAT and the Thailand Convention and Exhibition Bureau prior to his current appointment again as the Minister of Tourism and Sport. So someone with a lot of knowledge, and I'm sure passing a lot of that on to us today. During this time, he has also fulfilled many active roles in a number of committees and associations in many different business and social fields. In addition, Kunwirasak has received a number of very distinguished awards, including being awarded the Knight Grand Cordon of the Most Noble Order of the Crown. Tourism, as we all know, is at the very heart of Thailand's economy, contributing with the entire service sector approximately 25% of the country's GDP. However, as we're only too aware, over the years Thailand has been hit with a number of issues that continually affect tourism revenues, but with the stability of the current government, things have been looking good and progressing very well until only a few months ago. Since then, we've had a rapid decline in the inbound market, particularly from the Chinese, due to a number of issues. And today we've asked the Minister to touch on these and share some of the solutions to these issues that hopefully the government have and show us the way forward. So these being the fallout of the Chinese market, safety and security of tourists, and the issues faced with immigration. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kunwirasak Ko Surat.
Thank you, David, for inviting me, and also thank you for the nice katakata for the lunch. And it's my honor to be here. It has been full 11 months being in this post. And I think, first of all, I would like to report that counting all the Chinese arrival from the first day of this year until the end of October, we still have a 10% gain in terms of arrival, and more than 15% gains in terms of revenue from the Chinese market. But that is, if that is not impressive enough, we have over 20-some% increase of the arrival from Hong Kong, and over 12% from Taiwan arrival. Therefore, the hiccup in the last 3 months is good that it wakes all of us up and to realize that there must be something done in a series so that we can continue to enjoy seeing the growth of the hospitality industry here better. I have seen the growth in Eastern European arrival. It's more than 20%, more than 12% also from South Asia, and also more than 12 to 13% growth from the Russian economy. That is the amount that we conclude that this year we will have a bit more than 35 million arrival, just like last year. The better part is that we see a more proportional of the arrival from ASEAN countries. Now we have 30% from Chinese market. We have almost the same amount of 10 million arrival from ASEAN countries. So that is the improvement from the marketing side. But in the last 11 months, I've been paying more attention into the supply side. Basically, I would like to see more connected between agencies in Thailand. Now, let me give you a little bit of little dots here and there so that you can understand why in the 16 years of establishing this ministry didn't bring it to the point where I would like to see. 16 years ago, when the Thai administrative prime minister decided to establish 5 more new ministries into the system, from 14 ministry to what he would call 18 or 19. It was then that he never have any in his imagination to have the Ministry of Tourism or Sports. But when he put this bill through the lower house, no issue. But when the bill climbed up to the upper house was the first elected upper house, asked that, Prime Minister, if you don't give me the 6th child, the first 5 ministry that you plan to establish will have a hard labor pain. So he asked, what kind of ministry would you like? The elected Senate gave him the answer that they want sports ministry. So he came back and started cooking in his pantry to bring back the sport ministry back to the upper house. But when he did that, he found that the tray is a bit too small to show to the upper house. So he was looking around and asked a few more people who gave him the idea that why don't we put the whipped cream on the coffee by putting tourism on top. And that's how tourism ministry and sports was established. No homework was done. Because at that time, we were so deep into exporting activity, we didn't see the service industry and hospitality industry would play any bigger role than just a cup of change in comparison to exporting. Because we have been enjoying exporting for the last 40 years when we found out that Thailand in the Gulf offers what they call wet gas. And wet gas means that you can separate the gas and make lots kind of plastic and materials out of it. And that's how the Detroit of Asia idea started. And we were so deep into it. That's why the whole system of the administration of any kind in the country never have any appreciation or understanding of what hospitality industry can do and can be. And that's why when I became the 3rd time minister in this same post, I said no longer that tourism industry would just only bring in money, but it will be used as the new tool for public policy to address the issue of income disparity. So it's not always the point where I would like to go to the highest peak of how much we can earn. It is more on where do we want those money to spend, even if it's much less money. But if it's spent to the right place, the right point, to the right people, then the gilasi, the turmoil that we have been seeing the last 10 years would never happen. And the cabinet agreed. I went to speak about this at the parliament, and the parliament agreed. And I said, because tourism industry can involve so many little, small people from any part of this country. to share some of those GDP. Yes, the tourism industry contributes so much into the GDP, but it still congests in several areas that we can close our eyes and name the place. Bangkok, Phuket, Hat Yai, Samui. But let's talk about what we usually call secondary cities. As a matter, it's unseen Thailand or the less visited area, but they all have their own charm. And that's why I said, let's get this congestion out of the bigger city. It impresses less people now. More people are coming. And we are facing with the issue of over-tourism in some or many of those areas. Let's bring them to elsewhere and give this chance not only to the guests but also to the host city to be able to enjoy some of the chance that they can get when they are involved with the guests coming into their city. And that has been the plan, been developing and putting into the exercise in the last 11 months. Well, I was asked to join this government in the last wrap of the run, so it's 100 dash. I don't have a great deal of time to lose, but the direction here that I've just spread out will continue to be the major direction of the tourism industry development direction. Now that is the direction. And when we decongest some of the bigger cities or bigger destinations so that the host cities will be able to start to look back into their own conservation and see what are problems that has been there underneath the rug and being able to address those easier, because you can't really refurbish the restaurant when you have a whole full house of guests. Let's try to bring the guests somewhere else, and those places are also very charming as well. And slowly, about 10 to 14% depends on each secondary cities or the unseen cities are now being visited by more guests. Nakhon Si Thammarat is one on top of having the number of new guests going into that city. It's not only new for foreigners, it's also new for the local as well. Chiang Rai has been known as the highest new income earner of the less visited area in the country. And the list goes on and on. So if you would be familiar with the European football, I will call these secondary cities as a Division 2, 3, 4. So each division is going to have to develop itself. It will take time, but if the direction is there, we will never forget them. Continue to put in more infrastructure, but more important than infrastructure is about to build people, to allow the city runners and the people who are active in those areas to understand that hospitality industry need to be done correctly. Otherwise, it will not be sustainably. Let's try to keep the sustainability on top of everything. Safety is something that one should not try to negotiate, and start doing the right thing from day one. Don't try to please the market too much. Try to be yourself. Stick with the how would you call it? The sustainability. Then, in no time, you see a lot more smiling face of the both hosts and also from the guests. The issue I have asked to be talked about today is the crisis. Do we have crisis? I don't think a Chinese market incident is the crisis. Yes, for some part of the people who rely themselves so much on the group tour from China, they call that crisis. But I would say that rely so much on one particular market itself is a crisis. Too much risk, regardless if it's China or anywhere. But that's why we have seen ourselves to make the list, keep it long, so that we are focusing, spread out, and make sure that we want to count in any passport holder from any destination. And also, not to forget, that the Thai domestic traveling industry is also very big. We are talking about 150 million man trips a year. That is 5 times bigger than the amount of international arrivals. So let's try to make sure that we have a good balance on both domestic and international arrivals. For the international arrivals, I think the pricing scheme is going to be less attractive more and more when many countries are coming into this great ocean, if I may. But let's make the regulation of the government make more sense. Regulatory reform is about to be in order. We have started doing that in the last 2 years, and it's not easy to do that when you look at into any department of any organization running the public office. We still have a lot of unnecessary regulations and rules. One of the things that I have just made an agreement, and I got the approval from the Thai cabinet last week, on Tuesday, is that at least three things have been fixed. First, for many of you who come here with a single visa stamp on your passport, it means that when you are introduced to the border cities of Thailand and you want to go across the river or across the border to have a meal and come back, you can't, because your single visa stops you there when you are trying to re-entry. And I asked the cabinet, let's allow them to re-entry even if they have the single visa scheme. We call that a re-entry visa. The government approved that. The second one is when you come in with a single visa, and lots of the activity we are now trying to promote international visitors to do is not only to visit place, but also to have activity like wellness activity, sporting activity, MICE activity, or go visit hospital and to do a general checkup or see the dentist. Usually the first trip they come here is to do the inspection and see what damage has been done to their body, and when the next time then he come in and to go and try to fix it. So that means in the next 6 months he would like you to come back here, but if he would have to hustle himself to the Thai consul or embassy to just ask for a sticker to come back again, it would cost him too much. Not the cost, but it's the time. So the cabinet agreed with me that we'll try to do a trial period of 2 months to allow anyone who are intending to come to Thailand to apply visa during that 2 months, then he'll get a new sticker saying that he can entry twice. So we call that a double entry visa. It's a trial. Whether or not it's going to be a successful scheme, but let's try to build something new. The third part, so you now know the double entry visa, the re-entry visa. The third part is that involving with many of you here who can fly into Thailand at any time, any point, as often as you would like to come to Thailand. There are about 38 passports that we allow to come. But 2 years ago, some agency made a regulation into detail saying that if you come on land, you can only enter through the border only twice a year. And I think, well, that doesn't make sense. Let's get rid of these. So yes, the cabinet agreed, and now the immigration office is working on the details. Soon enough, they will make a public announcement that those passport holders can come in at any time from any point. And that would bring a lot of the expat, international expat who works around the country in Laos, in Myanmar, Cambodia, Malaysia, to come on land to us as often as they would like, so they can bring their wife and kid to go to visit hospital, cross the border, come to do more shopping, or come to join sporting events. On my portfolio, not only I take care of the tourism sector, but also with the sports sector. And we involve at the ministry level, we involve about 660 run and ride cycling a year. That's quite a good number. And every single one of them will be full in no time, anytime when we open it. That means the culture of the middle class people has already reached the time where they look at the traveling not as something luxury. It's a part of their life. Traveling from here to there, to see place, to learn more, to exchange.